but he's a good football player. He is a football player. That's exactly what it is. He's also our best pitcher on the baseball team. He's just a good kid. Then we have a young man who probably is the quarterback in the future. His name's Jacob Blakeman. He's a sophomore. Going to be a sophomore, little left-handed kid. He's going to see maybe 1 or 2 series a game just to get him acclimated to playing high school football. Little, but very accurate. Throws a very good ball. Very smart. His brother last year was one of our starting receivers and one of our better receivers. And is playing in Louisiana College. And then we have a young man named Logan Klotz, who is what a quarterback should look like. 6'1".
Coming off the bus, he looks like one.
175 pounds, runs a 4.56, has a cannon, but he's also one of our starting corners. He's our starting punter. He's gonna be in the rotation as a returner. He is the dynamic player that we have at quarterback. We're gonna have a package of maybe 10 to 15 plays that he has to know, and he's gonna come in and just make plays.
Do you worry? Because you've been around the game long enough to know when people say, if you have 3 quarterbacks, it means you don't have one. Do you worry about that, or are you comfortable with this?
I think the term comes from if you don't know who your number 1 is. We have an established one. Reese Sadley is my starting quarterback. There is no doubt about that. The other 2, like I said, Jacob is just going to see some time, and Logan is going to be a change of pace guy. It's kind of similar to what I had at Riverdale. Now, forgive me, Logan is not Dante Jackson. Nobody ever is Dante Jackson. But Dante would come in at quarterback, and he had a package. He would do this, this, and this, and this, and then go out, and my starting quarterback would come back in. And so I think as long as we have established roles, I think that's the problem. That's an old saying. I know that saying very well. But it basically comes down to that's if you have 2 number 1s. I don't. I have 1 number 1, and then I have 2 kids that will play as well. Right. When you're talking about running back, now this is going to be truly running back by committee. We have a young man named Matt Castillo, who didn't play the last 2 years, but had a great spring for us. Had a good summer when he was here. And he's gonna be our number 1 running back. Then we have 3 or 4 kids behind him who will touch the ball, but they're doing something else as well. Like Mike Associate is one of our linebackers. He's a 6'2", 190-pound, 200-pound linebacker who also can run the ball. Garrett Cavalier is an outside linebacker who can also run the ball. We have Cole Canulet, who's an outside linebacker, can also run the ball. Austin Lang is a linebacker and also runs the ball. And then we have a young man, he's an incoming freshman named Joseph Estopanol, who we think is the running back of the future, that we're going to try to get a touch here and there. So I don't, to me, and this has been throughout my coaching career, you rarely have a number 1 running back that touched the ball 25 times a game.
You don't have a bell cow.
No, we don't have. Like I had that at Riverdale with Darius Bovee, who rushed for 1,500 yards, and I had it at Redemptus with Jeremy Hill. But other than that, I never had an every down back that's gonna slam it up in there. You know, it's always been by committee. I think that's the best way because running backs take so many hits. You know, you want somebody that's gonna be fresh in the 4th quarter.
Any other question marks or anything that you're worried about on offense this year? Or are you kind of pretty confident with the group you got set going in?
I'm always going to be questioning our offense this year just because it's so new. You lose 2 out of 5 stars in the offensive line. You lose your quarterback. You lose your running back. You lose 3 out of 4 receivers. So it's going to be new. The good thing is we're replacing them with good players. For the offensive line, we have 3 out of 5 coming back. And the 2 that we have coming in are one is a dynamic kid who's going to be Ethan Sandrock. He's a rising sophomore. He's one of the new ones. But he's 240 pounds. He's 5'11". I mean, he's very athletic. He's one that I'm very excited about. And then we have a program kid, Walter London, coming in to be the starting right guard, who in the 2 years I've been here, has missed 1 workout, and that's because his house it was flooded in during a storm a couple weeks ago. And then when you look at receivers, you lose Anthony Chapetta and Tyler Blakeman, who were 1,000-yard combined receiving kids. But I have Chase Bergeron, who has been uncoverable in 7-on-7s. And I have a rising 9th grader named Colin Brindell, who is probably one of my best athletes as a 9th grader. You know, and on the outside we have Quentin Sanders, who played a lot last year. who has a lot of experience, and then we have a new rising ninth grader, but who's very, very fast, runs track for us, a guy named Daniel Ruffin. So the potential is there. It's just going to be how long does it take for us to gel as an offense.
Flip it, other side of the ball. Defensively, you're going to be going up against some really good offenses this year. It means your defense, even though it's young, is going to have to step up.
Well,
let's work outside in.
Well, defensively, the good thing is we're returning a lot of people. That's going to be our strength this year, as long as we can stay healthy. We have our Logan Klotz, who I mentioned earlier. He's our starting corner. He started as an 8th grader and a 9th grader, so he has a lot of experience. On the other side, we have a newcomer named Joseph Millette, who again is an athletic, fast kid. Free safety, we have a kid named Brady Becker, who lettered for us as a freshman last year, did some good things. Then our outside backers are Cole Canulet, who lettered as a sophomore, then decided not to play as a junior. He then comes back out. He's a good football player. And our other outside backer is Garrett Cavalier, whose brother was one of the best players ever to come through Pope John Paul, Greg Cavalier. And I think Garrett's the only difference between Greg and Garrett is size. But Garrett is a tenacious player. He's very strong. He was a state champion powerlifter, as was Brady Becker, state champion powerlifter. He can run a little bit. So I mean, they're good football players. Our middle backers, we have 3 middle backers for 2 spots. All are starters last year. We have Austin Lang, who's going to play middle backer and defensive end, and then Mike Associate is going to play middle backer and defensive end. Both of those were at least 2-year starters. Very strong, very athletic. Austin might be one of our fastest kids. And then on the other backer, you have Josh Phillips, who is, like I said, one of the most underrated linebackers in the state of Louisiana. He's getting a lot of interest in colleges. Nobody's pulled the trigger on him yet, but I'm sure that's going to come soon. And then our D-line is actually our strength. All 4 D linemen have started for us last year. Like I said, one of the other linebackers is going to be the starting defensive end. They've played that before. Peyton Smith has played defensive end. It's a 2-year starter. He, I think, was a leading sacker last year. He had 3 sacks in the spring game. And then you go to the interior. We have Connor Shank, who's one of our quicker kids, and he's 245, 250 pounds. And then to me, our other young man, Tony Hattier, when he flips that switch, to me, is unblockable. And I think so. He ended up with 7 tackles for loss and 4 sacks last year as a junior. And I want to say he might have 10 in his career. So I think that front 7 is probably our strength. I think we're more athletic in the backfield than we usually are, but it's all about how fast they'll gel as a secondary. You know, what we're doing this year is our 2 preseason games are against dynamite competition, so we can get ready for them. We got EJ coming in here for the scrimmage, and you know that flex bone offense they run. We're going to see that against Pine. We're going to see that against maybe 1 or 2 other teams. So I wanted to see that in preseason. Plus with their athleticism, I wanted to be able to see that. And then we got Newman for the Jamboree. So we're gonna have 2 tests in preseason, and we need that going in because we play St. Helena, we play Pine, we play Meat, we play Independence. Our district schedule, North Lake, is a very tough district schedule.